you're listening.
I just don't care.
Look, if you're 300 pounds, then you are a monster, and I don't want you to talk.
Welcome back to This Is a Work. My name is David Hensley. I'm the owner and creative director of Long Walk Productions, and I am here today to introduce your host, David Two Doggz Hayes.
Oh, thank you so much, David Hensley, and welcome to Rock Hill, South Carolina's only premier wrestling pay-per-view review podcast. This is a work. With me, as always, my tag team partner, Chris the Fashion Plate Barnes. Brother, how the hell are you today?
Jokers are wild, baby.
Yeah, man, that's right. And once again, we have a very special guest in studio with us. We have friend of the program, Robert Brafford. Brother, how you doing?
I'm so glad to be back with y'all.
Man, thank you so much for taking the time to come out and talk a little wrestling with us. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about.
We have a lot of wrestling to talk a little about.
That's true. We got a time limit. We got bandwidth to worry about.
Find a way to not just be talking about the last 3 minutes of that pay-per-view for 2 hours.
Oh my God. It's how insane is this whole thing? Right now, AEW has the best wrestling roster in the entire world, which is nuts to think about when you include New Japan, you include Ring of Honor at one point, who was a force to be reckoned with, and the Titan WWE, and now here we are.
It's really reached the point where it stopped being WWE has more talent they're not using well, and AEW's now got the talent. They've pulled ahead on that.
Right. And now all they have to do is use it properly, which they seem to be. They seem to have some
strangely hell-bent on doing.
Yeah. What's up with that? I heard a few things this week while we're getting to the day of the podcast that we'll talk about a little bit later. But it seems like Vince has changed up his whole plan. And we'll get to that. We'll talk about that later on. But Did
Vince get a little shook?
I
mean, he's.
I think maybe he did.
He's pretty unflappable most of the time, but
I don't know if you guys watched Raw.
Did not.
But they had a tag team turmoil tournament.
Curious.
Do they normally acknowledge that they have that many tag teams at one time?
They usually don't acknowledge they have tag teams. So I don't know.
They usually call those on the pay-per-view filler match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we'll get to all that.
Okay.
We'll get there. So we opened the show with the Best Friends and Jurassic Express versus the Hardy Family Office, HFO.
Doggz' favorite.
I'm over the Hardys. I don't care what federation we're talking about. I'm done. I didn't like them to begin with back at the beginning. So
it's weird because I mean even if I'm tired of them. I like Matt in this role. He does a good job with it. He's always had more of a mark for charisma, for carrying these kind of things.
I do have to say, in all of the different gimmicks that I've seen him in, I hate this one the least. So this is a glowing review from Two Doggz Weekly.
That actually is from you. That's how you describe things you like.
I do love how cheerfully he went from like the Matt Hardy deletion guy to just now he's like the businessman recruiting. It was just 1 week he was one, then the other. Yeah. There was no attempt to like have a change or have him be off TV for a month or anything. It's like, I'm Matt Hardy and I'm this now.
I don't know why you're surprised about that, because if it's one thing that 80s television has taught me. It's head trauma will change your entire personality.
It goes back further than that. The Flintstones established it.
There it is. There it is. And all he needs to do to go back to
What's he got to get flung off to go back?
yeah, just more head trauma. That's all we need. And send him right back into version 2.0 or 1.0 or whatever he wants to go into.
I gotta think this. Thinking about this gimmick where Matt Hardy plays a guy roping in other wrestlers to convincing them that he'll help them make money by getting a cut of their earnings as part of his group. This might be the most meta pro wrestling thing I've ever seen.
It's very Ted DiBiase-esque. That's what it feels like to me.
And every classic wrestling promoter.
I feel like he might be pulling from like one or two real life figures if you dig in.
Well, from what I understand, he knows firsthand about it from Italian Stallion, which I got no problem burying him. He doesn't listen. He doesn't know what a podcast is. He's still. I'm sure he's still running a school around here somewhere. But yeah, they apparently Stal pulled over after they had just did a one shot for WWF. Mm-hmm. Pulled over just outside of New York and said, "Okay, I need half your money, or you're gonna have to walk back."
Holy shit!
Yeah, that happened. So
Wow.
yeah, but I thought this was a great opener for the buy-in.
Oh yeah,
this was a lot of fun. In fact, I gave this match a 4, which I rarely do for the buy-ins. Usually it's a 2.5, it's a 3, somewhere around there. This was off the chain, man.
It was really well paced for a 10-man match. It never felt like it was getting out of control. Like,
right?
Even the few spots, like there was that bit where like they had the conveyor belt of submissions where everybody came in and locked onto somebody else. Mm-hmm. And then right as it's getting out of control, Luchasaurus just bowling balls into it and sends everybody flying.
He Red Rovered into him.
Yeah. I had forgotten about that. That was a great spot. That's one thing on the indies that you love to see. The headlock, and then something...
That's a fun comedy spot they love doing in Japan, where they'll all lock in like an armbar or something, and then the lead guy will the back guy will crank, and then everyone cranks, and everyone.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun spots you can do with that. Yeah. I don't have a ton of notes on this one. I thought the match was so much fun. The Butcher came back.
Yes,
great to see that guy again.
Yeah, he's been out with an injury. They come in and they are trying to cut Orange Cassidy's hair.
Which is interesting because of all the people on that team, he's like 3rd or 4th for like the hair that you'd want to target.
Right. Even the Butcher has a great big bushy beard that we could cut up. But no, it's, yeah.
I mean, if this gets us to a Matt Hardy versus Jungle Boy hair versus hair match, I'm down for it.
I get the idea, though, but it's like if you mess up his hair, you might destroy his aura of cool.
That's true. He's like Samson. It's
like you can't ruin the sunglasses because that's been done too many times. But maybe if the hair goes.
Right.
There's a restraining bolt in there somewhere, and he just becomes this furious dervish if it's destroyed.
So for me, then I thought the highlight of the match was Jungle Boy ends up on the shoulders of Luchasaurus.
Yes. Oh my god!
And they start playing chicken with Angelico. Yeah, and which just was so much fun.
Just the two guys
they knock him off, and then someone gets on the corner turnbuckle.
Yeah, I think
goes to try and like drop kick Jungle Boy.
I think he tries to drop kick Jungle Boy. I think that was Angelico, and Jungle Boy just drops back to avoid it while staying on Luchasaurus' shoulders.
And then someone else tries.
I think that was Jack Evans.
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah, that was Jack Evans because he did the. That's where he did the flip off of Luchasaurus.
He rolls with it and ends up slamming Jack Evans. It was amazing.
Yeah, and from there went and caught him into the snap trap, and that's where we got the tap out. Mm-hmm. And just such a good match, man. It was so much fun to watch. I don't know. What do we think? Anything else we want to say about this match?
No, that was a hell of an opener.
Right on.
They had a nice run-out spot afterwards when they're about to cut Cassidy's hair. A bunch of the other face tag teams come running out to give backup. So it's like, oh, it's nice to see, the Dark Order and the Varsity Blondes and all that just in front of a live crowd, even if they're not wrestling.
Right.
I likened it to everyone getting upset when they think Ferris is in trouble in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Right.
It's like that.
Yeah, we've got a Save Ferris Cup, and we're running out there. We move into the main show, and we start things out with the TNT Championship. Now, this is our champion, Miro, versus the Mad King himself, Eddie Kingston. I don't know. Chris, I'm going to let you take this one. What do you got?
Oh, man. Where to start? Miro comes out. Eddie comes out first, setting the mood with the T-shirt where he declares that Miro can redeem these nuts.
My favorite touch is it doesn't just have the phrase, it's got the attribution. It says, redeem these nuts, hyphen Eddie Kingston.
Yep.
Could I get you to say that again for me, Robert? Just the...
I'm giving you a ringtone now, but redeem these nuts, Eddie Kingston.
I just like hearing that come out of your mouth. That's
just wanted a clean catch of that.
That's all we wanted.
We're
going to get that drop. Hensley, you got that?
That's going to be the tag at the end of every episode from now on. Redeem these nuts.
Well, now it is.
And then Miro comes out. He's a ball of fire.
This was such a hard hitting match. What a great way to open the show. I mean, they were slugging it out. It was just a brawl. It wasn't even a wrestle match. It was a fight.
It was a fight, and it was great because it was Miro being strong and angry, and he's like, you can't hurt me, and then Eddie chops him, and he no-sells it for a second, and then turns around and screams.
Yeah. I liked it.
The try and fail to no-sell is just amazing.
It was good, and I was talking to my wife about this when we rewatched it the other night. Miro is doing some of his best work now, and as much as I hate to say this, everything that he's doing so well, he has learned from the WWE.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's like it's stuff he clearly picked up or was taught to be able to do, but they never let him do.
Right.
At one point, he lands a drop kick and hits Eddie in the face.
It's
and
amazing.
They're about the same height, and he gets all the way off the ground and puts
absolutely, which is something that they would have never let him do before.
Right.
But it's little things. It's the facial expression, him working the hard camera or whatever camera's close to him. There was one point where he had delivered one crescent kick and he took a knee right beside him and just had this wild man look on his face. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly where the camera was. And then he looks up right at the hard cam as the hard cam closes in on him.
Yeah.
It was just a beautiful moment.
There was also a great moment where Eddie kicks out after he almost puts him down. And there's like a split second of shock and then anger in his face.
Yeah.
Perfect moment.
This is some of his best work ever.
There's also a great bit where he tries to pin Eddie, gets a 1 count, is about to go back in, and Eddie just flips him off for a second. And there's a break, and then he goes back to attacking him.
Such a great clashing of styles that worked out, and it not only just styles but looks, because Miro's got the perfect strongman kind of look. Which fits his gimmick of God. He's the Redeemer. He's God's champion.
Right.
He's big and tough. And then Eddie is there, and he's not super in shape. I mean, he's
no, he looks like me.
He's got a dad bod. I'll say that. But he's not slouching at all.
And when he landed a couple of belly to back suplexes on Miro. I mean, he's got muscle under there.
Oh yeah, he can. The man can go.
Yeah.
It's but. I do have some nitpicky stuff, and I'm going to be, and that's all it is nitpicking. I'm going to be doing this throughout the whole pay-per-view.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's...
because Now, at this point, we are on match number 2. Mm-hmm. It's the third time that I have seen the spot where they're trading chops or trading punches. And this was a theme throughout the whole night.
It's weird, though, because this time it was chops. There have been other pay-per-views where, weirdly, other things keep repeating through the show. Like, there was I don't know if it was exactly the last one or the one before, where everyone was flipping the bird all the time.
Yeah.
It was happening every match.
I think it was maybe 2 or 3
I want to say
pay-per-views.
2. I want to say 2.
I think you guys are missing the obvious tie-in here. It's a promotion for some incoming talent. You may recall the former Iconics, now the Inspiration, have a podcast that AEW is promoting titled Off Her Chops. So they're just shouting out the future recruits.
This is stealth marketing. I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what this is. Okay, I got it.
Then nitpick resolved.
I will say the
right.
shade of purple on Miro's chest at the end of that match was
Yes. Oh my God.
nasty.
Forget about it, man. That's one thing that used to upset me more than anything. If I'd looked down on my chest and I've got bruises or handprints or anything like that, that used to make me so mad.
Yeah. But I get the feeling there's no way those two weren't like.
There's an understanding there.
There had to.
It had to have been, especially when you're talking about Eddie Kingston, and he's like, "Look, I'm gonna bring it," and he was like, "All right, well then I will too."
Yeah, and going back to your nitpick, I don't know if it's just like an idea that they have where it's like they focus on something and like, let's do that too. Like,
I think what's happening, and again, I really do not want to give WWE any credit for anything, but this kind of stuff does not happen in WWE, and the reason for that is road agents. They're watching each other's matches, they're watching other people's matches, and they're saying, hey, don't do this. This is happening in a later match that is more important than what you guys are doing. So, and that's... Which I think that's a good thing.
It is.
It can be taken too far in some point, depending on who it is, that you can corrupt it. But
we can't have 4 matches end by pinfall tonight. That's just crazy.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, if there's something that's going to be like a kind of a major spot in a later match up the card, then you want to protect it. You do want to make it seem more special,
right,
when it happens.
Now, and
but
again, guys, I am not Jim Cornetting this thing. This was an amazing pay-per-view, but I can't. There's just certain things we gotta talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, we're supposed to. We're allowed to criticize.
That's right.
But I just love the fact that you are just couching it so hard as opposed to like WWE, where it's like, okay, this was so fantastic, but there's just a little thing right here. I just got to talk. It's okay, guys.
Well, the reason that I'm doing that is on the way home from work today, I was listening to Cornette's podcast.
Oh, God.
And he was reviewing AEW.
Was he?
And
how much did he love it?
Oh, well, now he loved CM Punk and Darby Allin. Mm-hmm. That's about it. He shit on everything. And I mean, shit on it hard. And it's that now you're just doing this because you're angry.
No,
this was a damn good pay-per-view.
That, and he knows that's just what people tune in for now.
Yeah, yes, he's got a problem with the Young Bucks, and
I do too.
As he does with their, what does he like to call it, their hippy dippy dive stuff.
Says the old school liberal, but all right.
Right. But look, I got a problem with it too.
Yeah.
In this particular case, the crowd was so into it. What are you going to do?
Yeah, when we get there,
you got to let things go sometime.
Yeah, when we get there, I'm going to have to give them their due. I mean,
absolutely.
But going back, the only other thing I can think of going back to that nitpick is just that just seems like some weird inside joke that they decided we're going to all do one thing in this.
It's like there's a wheel they spin. It's like you've got to work this into your match at some point.
Okay, tonight's special ingredient is chops. Everyone's doing chops.
Next one. Knees to the face. Here we go. And all right. But now the go home on this one. Kingston hits his DDT, but the referee, he's got his back turned.
Because of the pad that came off the turnbuckle.
Yeah, the pad comes off the turnbuckle, which, as a side note, Kingston did such a good job of, as he's being German, he tried to reach
effortlessly, yeah,
to grab something to stop it and just grab the turnbuckle pad, and it just comes off.
Yep.
And you can see his face as he's flying back in midair, like, wait, what? That's supposed to... Oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, it's good stuff. It's good. But he hits his DDT. Now, the referee has grabbed the turnbuckle pad at this point and is putting it back on. He got at least a 4 count out of this.
And the referee got heat for that, for not being in position for the
did.
count.
Oh, God, that Chicago crowd booed the hell out of him.
He's like holding like the 2 fingers up in every direction, just be like, it was 2. Guys, you have to believe me.
And then it didn't work because the pad fell off. And then when Eddie went to slam Miro into it, he got in between.
He got in between them, and he was like, no, hang on. This thing is... the turnbuckle is exposed.
That's unsafe.
That's unsafe. And while he's doing that,
that's unsafe while you guys are beating the hell out of it.
Nero rears back and gives him the backwards Ric Flair kick to the nuggets.
Yep.
And that is your go home spot. Usually, you have to get a 3 count, something. But no, he goes for the crescent kick. That the first one. Mm-hmm. Eddie did not sell, which I have no idea why.
Right.
So he had to give him a second one, and he put some stank on that one, and then got his 1, 2, 3.
That might have been why Eddie didn't sell it. He wanted it to look better.
He caught him on that last one.
No. And I'm betting Eddie was happy with that one.
Oh, I bet so. So Miro retains his TNT title.
Yep.
I give this a strong 4 Meltzers. Mm-hmm. Such a great match. Robert, what are your thoughts?
I'm a big fan. I think it's a classic example of how a wrestler losing does not mean they're buried.
No.
I went back and checked
all.
this. Eddie Kingston has never won a match on an AEW pay-per-view. He's won on Dark and Dynamite, but he's lost every tag or singles match he's had on their pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. But you never stop to ask, wait, why is he getting a shot at the title? What's he doing? It's because he's just so compelling as just this unstoppable scrapper.
This match totally told the story that it's like, oh, Miro's in danger if he doesn't do something.
He is one of these rare people that I'll just go ahead and put it out there. He doesn't need a title. It's actually probably going to slow him down.
Yeah.
Like he is the George the Animal Steele. He's the Lou Albano. Those guys, they never needed titles. Braun Strowman, I think, at one point was one of those guys.
But they kept giving him title shots anyway, so he just kept having to lose.
Well, that's what I complained about watching. It was like, he doesn't need one. He should never, ever win, and then he did. And it was like, no.
Yeah.
Same thing with Bray the Fiend Wyatt, and, well...
Never needed a title, and then they gave it to him, and then took it, and then buried him.
They took it in
that.
the worst way. Yeah.
Oh God, I don't want to relive that. No. So let's move on to our next match, which was John Moxley and
this newcomer, John Moxley. Okay.
Yeah, that one I couldn't pronounce. How about that, huh?
John Moxley just tearing into Japan like his middle name is MacArthur.
Wow. Versus Satoshi Kojima.
All right, I vacate my seat. Robert, it's yours now.
My World War II history buff dad will never listen to this podcast, but I like to think that he somewhere smiles because he knows I made that joke for him.
We were joking on the way in that you should be the new host of this show, but after the quality of that joke, you two are fired, and this is a work with Robert Brafford.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe I can come in as a guest spot.
Good luck in all my future endeavors.
God damn it. What is this, Nick Khan running this thing? Jesus, man. So now, look, I don't watch New Japan. I used to watch it, a little bit in pieces, but, just sparingly. So I'm familiar with the name. I'll be honest, the only Kojima that I know is the creator of Metal Gear Solid. That's so.
Oh, we made those jokes during the match,
Oh yeah.
but again, I was in the same boat but again,
Wrestling. I'm sorry, I can't quit. It's stuck. Please, I'm sorry. Continue.
Continue what? I'm done. No, it's just I have come to trust AEW specifically when, even if it's someone I don't know, I know that whoever they have decided to pit against Moxley is someone who is good, who is a good worker, and well, the crowd certainly knew him, and that helped a lot. Even if I didn't necessarily know, they knew.
Right, they did, and I don't have a ton of notes about this. This was a hard hitting match. Once again. Now we are at 3 matches, and 6 times we are doing the trading spot. Trading chops, trading punches, trading forearms.
How old did they say Kojima was? He's in his 50s? Early 50s?
Yeah, something like that. See, you know
That
what?
man
No,
looked
I'm not even going to
fantastic.
say that. It's hard to tell. And
That man looks fantastic.
and you know what? So did Suzuki.
Yeah.
He could have been 80 or he could have been 20. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Other than people telling us he's been doing this 30 years. I was like, okay, well, all right, that's some kind of timeline there.
So at least 32.
Right.
They start young in New Japan.
Yes, they do. Ask Kenny Omega. You know what? That sounded dirtier than I meant for that to sound. I want to apologize. That's not.
He wrestled a 12-year-old once. It was adorable.
Yeah, that's what happened. It was
In
fun.
a wrestling
It was
ring,
cute.
in a wrestling match.
In front of people. It was fans that came to see professional. Yeah, I'm just going to stop.
Professional
I will say, I do like what they've done with these Forbidden Door matches by having like people from the outside come in, because it's a great way to keep Moxley sharpened. You know, like he can go back into the title scene anytime, and he's got this win streak. But also, he doesn't have to be squashing any AEW talent or tying up any big stories. He's just like, there's this guy from Japan. I want him over here so I can beat the crap out of
The
him.
title can wait. All of Japan wants to fight him one by one, so hold on.
Either that or Moxley wants to fight all of Japan.
Either
we're
way,
not sure.
It seems to be mutual. That's going to happen.
There is genuine. Either Moxley hates Japan or Japan hates Moxley. It's unclear who hates who more.
It's an
I
invasion.
said that. I meant it. I'm not taking it back.
It's an invasion, but they very politely agreed to just do it one at a time until Moxley loses.
Right. It's only fair. It's
So
only,
a Horatius at the bridge situation. Like he just stands there as wave after wave of Japanese men charge at him.
right. Again, more war references. It's lovely.
That's right. You're going to learn today.
So again, this match was fantastic. Got a nitpick. So the go home on this, Moxley hit 2 paradigm shifts according to the announcers. Nay, he hit 1 paradigm shift, and then he caught him with a double underhook suplex. That was not a paradigm shift.
It does go that way sometimes if he tries too hard to like invert them completely and they just end up flopping over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I'll give him a pass, but if it's a double underhook suplex, you got to call it a suplex. Come on, guys.
It was a nice fisherman's suplex. Hello.
Thank you, Michael Cole. I did about 30 minutes for Kara last night talking about the fisherman hook suplex and how
You're right.
I will accept a perfect plex or a cradle suplex, but nothing else. And how dare anybody else?
You're right. I was mistaken. It was a Northern Lights.
Oh, good Lord.
A Samoan drop, I thought.
No, it was a frog splash. So we can go on Michael Cole all day. But after the match, now we have Minoru Suzuki that comes out. once again, somebody I don't know.
I don't know, but from what I've gleaned, he is a genuine badass who's been in the industry for a long time.
What little bit I looked up,
and that crowd went nuts for him.
They clearly knew who he was.
Yeah.
It also helps to sell it that when his music hits, he doesn't come out for a minute, and Mox is just staring at it, and you can see him mouthing like, and
then
like the bug eyes.
At one point, he says, "What the fuck?" And
and that's something great that AEW does, because like they've done a lot to introduce me to people that I've never seen before, and without without overloading me at the outset, they just let the moment happen. And they show you, they don't tell you, they show you it's a big moment, and this is a big person that is important and to be feared. And it totally goes in it. And then they start, letting you know why this is important and what's about to happen.
Right, and that's huge. I want the announcers to explain it. Unlike WWE, who has wrestlers in their roster. And who is that? It's like, well, she's from NXT UK. You guys hired her. I've never seen this person before with Eva Marie. Oh my God. It's like, but here, completely different fed. And they're like, oh, this is Minoru Suzuki. This is a legendary badass from New Japan. And
with AEW, the worst you get sometimes is they'll call them by the wrong name from a previous promotion.
We're going to talk about that.
Malachi Black.
I mean, it's like basically the feeling was he's a big deal. Enjoy the moment and then go Google him.
Right.
Which is great. That's how I want to feel. It's like I want to know more about this. Why this is going to be great.
And once again, he comes out there. He gets in Moxley's face.
Yep.
Believe it or not, they traded punches and then traded chops.
There was a bit where Moxley's elbow had gotten busted open during the match.
Oh my God.
He throws an elbow to the side of Suzuki's head, and you just see like the shower curtain in a slasher movie, blood just spatter across.
Yeah, it just smeared across his
body.
face.
Poor Moxley, man, he cannot catch a break with that elbow, huh? I mean, it's almost every other match
Apparently,
he's
he catches
in.
nothing but breaks with that elbow.
So they go back and forth. He comes off the ropes. He catches Moxley in the Gotch pile driver, and which, for my money, is the scariest version of a pile driver that you can do. And he didn't jump a lot with it, but he jumped enough to make you go. It's such a unsettling bump. It bothers me every time. But once again, a fantastic match. I gave this a 3.5. Good stuff, guys. What do you think? Any last words on this one?
No. I mean that's a good way to leave it.
So we move into our next one here. This is the AEW's Women's Championship. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
Folks at home, don't worry. I did the finger pointing along with him as legally required.
And she's from Britsburg. I don't believe it. I'm upset for myself that I just said that. Versus Chris Statlander. I'm not going to lie to you. I was worried about this whole thing because every time I see Statlander or Baker start to look like they are shining, I will tell people about it, and then they will both shit the bed and try to kill each other.
Look, you can't blame them for your superpower. This doesn't just happen with them either.
If I could harness this and use it for the forces of good,
for good, you'd hold countries for a ransom.
I would. I definitely would. I
He
would,
didn't say who's good.
yeah, I mean, I would be nice to everybody at first, but
This is like the discussion I've had with Dave about why he shouldn't have psychic powers.
what do you guys think here? What do you think about this match?
I liked it a lot.
It had one of the most interesting moments ever because Orange Cassidy stayed in Chris's corner for the match. And they had him do something I've never seen him do before.
Can I set up?
Sure.
So yeah, after this is after the They both go to the outside. Statlander tries to do a moonsault off the ring apron, misses while she's trying to get back up. Britt comes off the ring stairs, does a curb stomp on her, and then rolls back to the ring while the ref starts counting. And so Statlander's down, not moving. It gets to 5 to 6 to 7, and then
Orange Cassidy comes and he's trying to find a way to encourage her to get up and get back in. So he does the one thing I've never seen him do before. He raises his voice and yells for her to get up and get back in the ring.
I think we're starting to see some life in Orange Cassidy.
Well, I mean, yeah, they've been building it for a while, where it's like there's just these moments where he comes to life.
Yeah, it's good to see. Well, it's also he kind of had to evolve a bit, because you can't be you can't be silent the entire time and the lackadaisical wrestler 100% of the time.
Right.
I think you got a taste of the main event scene at the last pay-per-view from that triple threat, and as realized, it's like, if you show a little flexibility with a gimmick.
Yeah.
And he has been. It's just it's what makes it interesting is like it's clear it's like Cassidy's default / preference is, I just don't want to have to try if I don't need to, but I will. And now he's showing it off enough that it's like you can't underestimate him.
Yeah.
Because that talent is there.
And at one point, Statlander gets thrown out of the ring, and who was it that was out there? It was Jamie Hayter and Rebel
/ Reba.
And they go to put the boots to her, and Cassidy walks around. He doesn't really do anything. He's just like, come on.
It's just I always love that about his gimmick. It's just so that he's just the super cool guy to the nth degree.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I can't wait for this game.
Yeah,
I can't wait for this game to come out.
Oh, they showed new footage today of Jungle Boy in action.
I saw that.
And if Darby Allin's AI isn't the most wild thing in that game, I'll be disappointed.
How do you tell like a glitch that just makes him bounce around the ring from the way Darby Allin just moves?
This isn't a bug; it's a feature. This is normal.
Right. So DMD, she actually retains her belt, which, as over as she is, well deserved.
Yeah.
With the lockjaw.
Can I put in a note from the hosts of This Is a Takeover, with whom I watched this the second time?
Absolutely.
Shelby Ray Patterson, host of that show, was very happy to see at the last NXT Takeover, Adam Cole, who is dating Britt Baker in real life, used her lockjaw submission on Kyle O'Reilly.
He did.
Britt Baker at Sunday's event does Adam Cole's Panama Sunrise move to Statlander.
Called it the Pittsburgh Sunrise, I believe, or something along those lines. I believe she called it the Pittsburgh Sunrise.
That's how you say I love you in wrestler.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yep, that's how you set the table for wrestling. Forks to the left, knives in the back. But moving into our next match, and I don't even know how we want to start this, but this is the for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Yes. This is the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers inside a 20-foot tall steel cage. I just found that out today.
Well, I will set the scene by saying this was some wild shit.
Yeah. Let's start things out with the entrances. Lucha Brothers. Oh my God! I mean, it almost told the tale right out. You knew they were going to win by their entrance.
Oh God, yeah.
A couple of rappers I have no idea who they are.
Mikey Rukus is one of the guys, or Rukus. I'm not trying to say his name.
I think it's Ruckus.
Ruckus.
I think it's Ruckus.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But he's done a lot of like entrance music work for wrestlers, and apparently this was one of his a chance he got to do sort of an on-camera performance.
Yeah, it did a great job. Now, again, Cornette hated this, and I say unto you, why? Why did you hate it? Is it just because you don't like rap? Because that's fine. That's one thing.
Yeah.
I don't normally like rap, but I loved that performance and have had it stuck in my head all week.
You felt the passion.
You felt it. They came out in ceremonial Aztec headgear, man. I mean, How cool is that? But no, he hated every minute of it. He hates colors and music and babies' laughter, and I don't know. It's
If there were a puppy close enough, it'd have gotten kicked.
yeah. So they have an amazing entrance, telling the tale already.
And Ray Phoenix like scurries up the side of the cage in like 3 seconds.
Also foretelling.
Yeah.
And they get started, and holy shit, did they? They did not waste any time.
Not at all.
Well, Mr. Robert, what do you think?
I think I've also got some issues with the Young Bucks and just sort of the way they do things in matches. This format took away most of their big weaknesses. The two things that I can't stand about the Bucks are all of their matches become tornado matches for the last 8 minutes or so.
Right.
Like at a certain point, they're just in there double teaming constantly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And second, it's the fact that they'll do all these elaborate finisher style moves and get 2 counts, which makes it look like the offense doesn't matter.
I said during the match, it's like they're like the only tag team I know that has 5 moves of doom.
Right.
Well, they do like the last 30 seconds of a match for 15 minutes straight is sort of what they'll do. But in a cage match, it's already tornado rules, and everybody's so close together that pretty much any time they landed a big move on Phoenix or Penta, the other one could make it over to break up the count.
Right.
So all the offense really looked like it was landing and carried that story forward.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. This is, if you have to do finishers like that, this would be the Bucks' wheelhouse.
Yeah. And plus their shtick this time worked because since they ended up losing, the stuff they pulled was fine. It worked.
Right.
Like when they go to once again try to rip the masks off of the Lucha Brothers, like
Which
ripping them.
Remember maybe 2 years ago when we saw the Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers before?
Yes.
And he actually did pull the
Right.
mask off.
During a match when the Bucks were supposed to be faces in that match.
We got mad.
That was the first
all of us got mad
Because that's an ultimate heel move if you understand the culture of Mexican wrestling.
It was the first time I'd seen them
Lucha
wrestle, and I was like,
Yeah.
they must be bad guys, right? I mean, and then
No.
I watched Dynamite, like, I guess I'm supposed to cheer for them?
Yeah.
It's like that's like an ultimate move of disrespect, and I'm not supposed to like that.
Right.
But yeah, now it clicks, and it's made for such an image, especially Penta, so bloodied up, and I think a blood vessel burst in one of his eyes because one of his eyes was super red.
Yeah. Now, do you want to tell him why Penta was so bloody?
I actually can't remember at the moment.
Oh, I can.
What was it?
Well, there was several shots to the cage that he took.
Yes.
And then one of my heroes, I'm not even going to say his name. It's not worth it to me. Tosses a bag into the ring, which you could
that one.
tell
Okay, yeah.
when he did that. There was a pause in the match. The match came to a dead stop. Because everybody stopped and looked at him wanting to toss this bag, which tells me in rehearsal they tried this about 8 or 9 different times and he couldn't get it right.
No, I feel like he got it right maybe twice out of however many times they threw, and it's like, okay, so you sure you got it now?
No, I can do it. I can do it. We don't
yeah.
have to do it this way. We can set it in the inside of the cage. We can get it ourselves. No. No, we're okay. I can do this.
It'll look better if I
touchdown
toss
pass.
it. Yeah, it'll look better if I toss it like a touchdown pass.
You sure? We can go under the apron.
No,
now.
it's cool. It's cool. We got it.
All right, great.
And he managed to do it.
And what is inside that bag?
Is a Nike
That's right. Oh God.
with thumbtacks on it.
The entire sole of the shoe is
I don't
just...
know if that's more dangerous or safer than when I looked at it. I was like, why didn't you just buy a cleat? Because someone had to sit down and laboriously super glue tacks to the bottom of a sneaker.
Yeah.
I was really hoping after he put it on
Cutler
at some
did it.
point.
Yeah.
At some point, he'd try to run across the ring, and his foot would just get stuck in the mat, and he would face plant. I kept waiting for that to happen.
And he comes out. He's gonna super kick Rey Fenix.
Yeah.
And Penta jumps in his way to protect his younger brother.
Yeah.
And which, if you've followed the story in AAA, which I haven't, you would know that it's always been, Rey following after Penta, and just held him up in such a high regard. And it was very Matt Riddle, Randy Orton type of tag team in the beginning.
Sort of one-sided.
Yeah. But then they became more special. And then Penta gets in front to protect his younger brother, and boom, he gets hit.
Yep.
And then he gets hit again. They ran him into the they gave him a big boot in the corner.
Yeah.
And his mask actually got stuck in the tacks.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, God.
Because you can see him sort of pull his head away for a second, and then be like, what? That's not going anywhere.
It got really awkward for a second.
You mentioning AAA just made me realize what AEW makes me think of. AEW makes me feel like I'm reading like a DC or Marvel crossover event where it's like, to get the full story of why this is more significant, you have to read issue blank of this comic.
You're
That's
right.
what the backstory is, but you can still follow along with this well enough.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of more spots. There was so many amazing things that happened. I did not write any of them down.
And I will say this: the Young Bucks had their spots too, but they really let the Lucha Brothers shine with the big spots. Because Rey Fenix did ascend the top of that cage.
We'll get there.
Okay, sorry, we're not there yet. Okay.
There was a great bit where they're all four men are between the ropes and the wall of the cage.
Oh, yeah.
And both Nick Jackson and Phoenix wind up getting caught by the other one in a pile driver position.
And the older brothers look at each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, it's almost like a standoff, like, you do yours, I'll do his. Mm-hmm. And then they just, because, he'd already taken a spike shoe to the face earlier. He's like, sorry, brother, that's all you get.
Right.
They just package pile driver the guy while the other one has to watch.
Right. So we again, there's many more spots that I'm sure that we're leaving out that were just absolutely amazing. I personally, I don't like all the big finishers. I'm not a fan of that unless it makes sense.
Oh yeah, you're right. In a standard tag match, I hate not the Lucha Brothers, the Young Bucks and what they do.
Yeah. In this particular case, we've got this dangerous looking cage. Everybody's bloody, which in my world is a requirement for being in a steel cage.
This is if it's in a steel cage, it's supposed to be a grudge match.
Yeah, you're bleeding. Somebody's bleeding.
It's interesting. They never explicitly say whether or not escaping the cage is a way to win. The Bucks try to run up at one point early in the match, but pretty much from there on, it's just everybody beating up and going for pinfalls.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that. It's the old idea of the cage of this isn't about can you get out. This is, all right, this is here so nobody can run and nobody can come in to save you.
Which is the main purpose of a cage. It's like,
because
this can't be...
Again, it's story.
Yeah. It's like the whole point is you guys have to settle this. There's been too much interference one way or another. There's been too much shenanigans. You stay in this cage and you have a conclusion.
Right.
And unlike WWE, who always hammers the point home, is like, you can escape or you can win by pinfall or submission. And they have to remind you every step.
Every cage match in WWE is fundamentally broken by the fact that there's a door in the corner that a guy will just open if you walk towards it.
Right.
Like, you don't even have to, kick the door open or anything. It's just like, oh, are you coming here? Allow me, sir.
Yeah. It's a valet.
It should be more of a fight for that door.
Right. Tell us how we ended this match.
Rey Fenix scurries up to the cage. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot faster than I thought he would have by this point in the match.
Yeah, you're supposed to. You're supposed to lag a little here.
I mean, he went slow for him, I think.
It's true.
Because we saw how fast he went up at the beginning. It was slower than that, but he got up there and he ends up doing a crossbody from the top of that cage onto them.
Yeah.
There was also a bit because he climbs up to kind of the midsection. He's holding on to one of the lines for safety. I think it was Nick Jackson tries to climb up after him. Phoenix lets go, just runs completely unsupported, unsafe to the corner, kicks him on the way, and then grabs the rope.
And there's not a level platform up there. It was just basically
and it's unnerving to watch, especially if you get vertigo or something like that. It's a little, it's intense. 20 feet in the air, guys. Just a little food for thought. This is the same height as the Hell in the Cell cage. The WWE's cages are 16 feet high. So there you go. If you need some dimensions on why this was a big deal to me and why I keep harping on it. This is an intimidating looking cage. It's first of all, it's silver as God intended.
Yes.
It's not some silly red or black plastic looking cage.
You can see through it better.
So he does this high cross body. They do the pile driver for the win. 1, 2, 3. We have new AEW tag team champions in the Lucha Brothers.
Yeah. And for all my misgivings about the Young Bucks, and they're not going to stop here. This, I will say, everything. I mean, the whole match, the way this was planned, and their agreement that this was the right time for them to lose. Props to them. They executed this very well.
They did.
This was the one match on the card, and one of the things I love about AEW's booking in general is in pretty much any contest, I'll be like, okay, if that guy wins, I can see that being a good story. But if that guy wins, that's also here. If the Bucks had retained, I would have downgraded the match. If everything else was the same and just a different finish, I would have been like, they're overplaying this, and this was the right time for someone else to take it. So I'm glad they made that call.
Yeah, absolutely. I gave this match 4.5. I started to give it a 5, but it did go a little bit too long for my taste.
I don't think you can get away from that in a Young Bucks match.
No, you really can't.
I was going back and looking at their record, and it was like, they had their match against Page and Omega was like 32 minutes. Their match against FDR was 28. They've been paring it back. This was it was the longest match on the card by 5 seconds, 22:05. But it's restrained for them.
Good.
And so that's great.
I hope they can stay in that range.
Yeah, because it's acceptable.
Yeah, because I think that's the one thing. It tires me out.
Yeah, it does, and
every time I hear the time limit for one of their matches, I get worried.
Yeah, and that's going to come into factor here in a little bit too. Moving into our next match.
Can I say one other thing real quick?
Please.
After the match, when the Lucha Brothers are celebrating and just looking so happy and overwhelmed to have done this, 3 little girls who are Penta's daughters come running up to hug him at ringside, and it is the cutest thing.
Until
his face is covered in blood, so when they're like hugging their dad and kissing them, these small children just come away
with
the smallest one, the little toddler. She is just on the front of her shirt is just ruined.
Yeah, born into blood.
Which it cannot be the first time they've seen their dad looking like that. But it's still
not.
But they immediately went from heartwarming family moment to aftermath of a horror movie.
So now we have our Casino Battle Royal.
Oh yeah.
Now the winner of this Battle Royal is the number 1 contender for the women's AEW title. There's not a lot to say here. I usually love a good Battle Royal. This is my downfall on this whole pay-per-view.
Okay.
I thought this Battle Royal sucked.
I think the structure needs a little fine-tuning, and over time, I'm sure they'll work it out.
Yeah.
I think one of the big advantages of a Battle Royal is you can, especially one where people are entering in sequence, is that you can give everybody a little moment. So, like, members of your roster who don't normally get matches, it's like, okay, but they get to do their finisher before getting eliminated. And it weirdly had almost none of that. Like, a lot of the Dark people, the people who primarily wrestle on Dark, just to be clear, were thrown out like almost
I didn't think about that until you corrected it, and now that's all I can think of.
But, like, they went out... They went out so quickly. Like, the the first elimination was just like the what was her name? Sky Blue, just adorable kid. I haven't seen her.
Yeah,
She must have been a hometown favorite because there were people in the stands.
either that or they wanted to see Sky Blue and Red Velvet go at it just because of namesake.
Well, apparently they did that on Dark.
Well, see, that's why I don't watch Dark.
But no, she gets eliminated when she, I think, tries to knock the bunny or somebody over, doesn't, and then like poses on the ropes facing the hard cam, which
You
don't-
always know that's the signal.
Yeah.
and immediately gets hit from behind and taken out, because what did you think was going to happen when you went up on the ropes in a battle royal?
And which this set the tone for everybody going out, it seemed. This happened more than a few times. Which brings me to Jade Cargill. Carhartt. I don't know.
I knew that was coming.
That's I don't like her. I don't think she can wrestle. I think she is the great Khali of women's wrestling.
Oh wow.
Well, notice she will do a power move, somewhat of a power move,
Right.
and then what does she do? She poses, and then she will do one more power move. She hasn't wrestled yet. She hasn't grabbed a headlock in her life. She will body slam somebody and then do the double bicep, and then she'll clothesline somebody, and then she'll show off the triceps, and then and it's just, we'll do an overhead press slam, and then she'll do the Hulk pose. There's a lot of that.
She's got a thing that is working okay in singles matches, and I'm hoping people are like trying to coach and teach her. But yeah, in a battle royal, it just stands out as really weird and clunky.
It didn't work.
But you know who did work? Thunder Rosa. Holy shit.
La mera mera.
I'm telling you,
She stormed that ring, and when she wasn't kicking people's faces in, she was making faces, and it was amazing.
I'm telling you something right now, brother. I got a call yesterday from a good wrestling friend of mine up in Lincolnton, North Carolina, who, for all intents and purposes, hates women's wrestling. And all he could talk about was this casino battle royal, DMD, Dr. Britt Baker and Chris Statlander, and how amazing they did Sunday night, and how he is a fan of AEW women's division.
Nice.
Okay.
Which, wow. I'm not even there yet, and I'm trying to be really open-minded about it, but I'm not there yet.
I will say most of the talent that going into this, I was like, I know this person from what I've seen so far. I think they've got the goods. Most of them did really well. Like, even, the kind of fresher faces like Jamie Hayter, Anna Jay, I think we're looking pretty great. And then the kind of the stalwarts like Penelope Ford, Thunder Rosa, Nyla Rose.
Yeah.
What I loved about Nyla is she's the biggest person in the match. So normally that's the big show spot. Everybody teams up. But she's actually running around making like little temporary alliances. And then
that was great.
And
Yeah.
then screwing everybody over.
like they don't even show it with Diamante. Like they do like a little fist bump thing, and then the next time the camera's over them, Nyla Rose is beating her into the corner.
Beautiful. It was beautiful stuff. I will also say, my gal, legit Leela Hurst. Very disappointed in her, man. I wanted a much better showing, although she did German suplex Nyla Rose.
Yes, she did.
You expect that to be the spot of
She
her
is a tiny
trying,
ball of power. It's
Sorry, you were
Sorry,
saying?
You expect that to be the spot of like her trying and like she can't quite get it off. It's like, nope, just does it. Like,
Yeah.
like this is a person her own size.
it took a little bit of doing, but yeah, she did it.
Yeah, but that was about her only showing, and you were talking about Jamie Hayter. I saw her, I want to say maybe 2 years ago. It was when Dynamite had just started. And Jamie Hayter, she was on there maybe 2 shows. She did the job a couple of times. She cut a heel promo, and then poof, we never saw her again. I liked her back then. I'm seeing her now. She's centered. Her move set and her style has matured. I'll say it that way. She's gonna be something. I can see some major potential in her. Well, this battle royal goes on and on and on until we get to the Joker. And the Joker this time is none other than Ruby Soho, formerly known as Ruby Riott of the Riott Squad. Wow. So great to see her back.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to me when like somebody makes a return or there's a departure or something. There are some individuals that the entire wrestling community has only good things to say about.
Right.
And people who were still under contract at WWE, people who worked, with their NXT, just everybody was just putting out how happy they were to see her come down that ramp.
So apparently, her former partner, whose name just fell right out of my head.
Sarah Logan?
There you go. Sarah Logan bought a plane ticket and went up to Chicago to see her, brought her baby with her, and just didn't tell her she was coming, just went backstage to check her out, and poof, and just made her a ball of tears before she went out. So that's
kind of cool.
Yeah, right, right. Go outside. Make sure everybody sees you cry. And
but yeah, for all the messiness, when she came out and when you got to that like last group, things kind of clicked in. Like most of the dead weight was gone, and I think the last 8 or 10 minutes of this were really good.
It really was. It zoned in, and we had a decent match. We had a decent go home in this. We had a nice little apron run between Ruby and Thunder Rosa, which, God, Thunder Rosa, she keeps getting better and better and better.
Yes,
oh
she
my
does.
God. I'm telling you, she's something too. She's going to be something. Well, she already is something.
Yeah. Former NWA Women's Champion.
Yeah, absolutely. Had the picture of her on the belt and everything.
It's an interesting choice, but
we'll get into it. Yeah, I loved the match. I thought it was great. Great to welcome in your winner of the Casino Battle Royal, Ruby Soho, who is now the #1 contender. And I think that's fitting.
yeah.
Even though we had Diamante and Thunder Rosa in there, also favorites to go up against for the title. But I think it's a fitting choice to have Ruby Soho there. Any thoughts?
I think talking about your friend in Lincoln, I think I'm betting, it makes me think of the Magic School Bus mantra. I think it's because AEW is willing to take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. That's the appealing part. Even if it's not completely there yet, you see where it's going, and it's going somewhere very fascinating.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, there's enough people in there who got to show like just what they can do and how good they are. That the fact that there are some people who didn't quite seem on the level or quite ready for prime time, you can still see the potential. You can see what this division is becoming and where it's gonna be, in a couple of years.
Absolutely. And also, my friend from Lincoln, not a CM Punk fan until this past Sunday either.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So,
Must have been a lonely couple of weeks for him in the wrestling community.
Oh, yeah, it's been tough. Speaking of which, I'm sorry, I skipped one. So yeah, I gave the Casino Battle Royal 3 Meltzers. Really enjoyed it. And welcome Ruby Soho.
Yeah.
Moving into our next match, we have Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Chris Jericho.
Hold on, what was that second name?
I forgot.
Uh-huh.
Some Some old man. Doesn't matter.
Kind of matters.
Some Canadian musician.
Yeah. I don't know. This was so we're going to start this off with the entrances.
You have to. You absolutely have to.
So we start off with the old school WWE countdown with the.
It's the Y2J countdown. Yeah.
Yes. And
but legally distinct, so they can't get sued.
right.
Vince McMahon has not found a way to copyright descending numbers yet.
And also, the lights go out. Mm-hmm. We see pyro, and then using the same font, pops up Jericho's last match, and then MJF's music hits.
Oh God, it was.
I love this guy so much. He's gonna be the next Flair, the next Hogan, the next Stone Cold, the next Rock.
He is the best at being the worst.
Without question, he is better than us, and we know it. He comes out with Jerry Lawler's robe on for some reason. Not my business. I don't want to know why you have that. And then this should have been a lot cooler than it was, but this was a shit the bed part of the evening.
You're talking about the entrance or the match?
The entrance.
Okay.
It's not
what's the guy's name? Billy Gray?
Billy Gray. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
I don't know any other member of Fozzy. I don't know if it was completely a shit the bed moment, but I think they should have just not relied too much on the audience and just put the words up on the screen.
Maybe just follow the bouncing Jericho head.
Yes. Yes, just acknowledge
follow the Jericho belly.
Sammy Guevara comes out with the cue cards that he would sometimes
There
do.
you go.
The fans are already into it. Just put the words up and they will go along.
Yeah, because it was clear.
Because what
they didn't know the words.
What they decided to do was have Fozzy's lead guitarist come out and start playing Judas so that the fans could sing the song.
Yeah.
The entire song. The problem is the fans didn't know the entire song.
And it is different to
ahead.
just the instrumental versus the way that it normally plays.
Right.
It sounds different, and that was probably weird for people.
It sounds different, and I believe Mr. Gray botched at some point there.
I mean, and because the thing is, like, when you're singing with a crowd, you need someone starting off to help people follow along. Like that's, like maybe you could have lowered Jericho's, singing a little bit, just enough so that people could hear it and keep in tune.
Yeah,
but there were definitely points where it was like we were at home going. What have I become?
I become. Ah, crap.
Yeah, everybody was on a different page with this.
Not that they weren't trying, but it was just uncoordinated.
Yeah.
You wonder if just after hearing that, he called Aubrey and was like, "All right, we're changing the finish. I'm not retiring on this."
Yeah. It's like, no, this is ridiculous. No.
I ain't going out like no punk bitch.
Billy, you're fired. Get out. No fucking leave. God damn it. Not in front of everybody. Leave. And
we will talk about this later.
When you come to the cruise in November, bring your cement shoes.
So this match starts out so good. We started out very slow. Mm-hmm. I was like, we're working. I like the way we're doing this so that. But let's be honest, we're not doing this because we want a nice match.
No.
We're doing this so that Jericho doesn't blow up. And you know what it is.
No,
you know
fine.
what it is.
I mean, look, the man's older, and it's you gotta pace it differently.
And don't get me wrong, if I get in the ring right now, you better believe we're holding this headlock for 3 minutes. Easy. I mean, first move. So, MJF, I cannot say enough about him, about how he can grab that crowd and manipulate them to do exactly what he wants. Kind of reminds me of Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah, I can see that.
Where just a look will inspire so much hatred. Mm-hmm. And that's what we got here. Because there's a lot of people that really love MJF, and they were not in that Chicago crowd.
No.
What do you guys think?
I think you're right. I think it was just a great match between them, where they really rocked it back and forth.
Yeah, MJF he's so good on promos and, like you said, his character and his heel work. You forget just what a good storyteller in the ring he is too. Like at one point, Jericho does a power bomb onto the ring apron on the outside, and so for the rest of that match, he kind of plays a little sensitive on the back, downplays, and then something happens, and it'll suddenly come back to him like, oh god, that still hurts. Like he does, like Jericho tries to do a hurricane run off the top rope later. MJF counters into a power bomb, and then when they both hit the mat, MJF just like snaps up, holding his back, and screaming.
Yes, he did.
That was the spot I was thinking of. Yes.
While in counterpoint to that, and this is a big thing for me, because all of my heroes work the arm. And that's exactly what MJF stayed on. He picked apart and picked it apart. Because if you work that arm, he can't do the Judas effect. And that's what he stayed with the whole match. It was beautiful.
Talking about MJF selling is just what makes it great for me is like what makes a great heel or face for me is like a great face. You see his limitations and you see his weaknesses, but he's working hard and he's struggling, and he finds a way to overcome. And the heel, like MJF, when he has a weakness, he's just like he's openly disgusted in how horrible this is, and he's doing his best to cover it. And of course, by covering, he cheats.
Right.
And that's great because you see the moment of weakness in both men, but you see one be more noble, and then you see one just absolutely just do basically, when it's done well, what MJF does.
And that's exactly what we saw that night. Now, let me see if I can get this go home right, because it's complicated.
No, I can help you through it.
I took notes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So did I. Okay. So at one point, I don't remember what started it, but Wardlow comes out to do a run-in.
Yeah.
Poor camera work here, because we did not see Jake Hager.
Yeah, Jake Hager suddenly pops out of the crowd, or it's by the ramp or something, and intercepts him.
Yeah, and so they start fighting.
And other refs come out to break him up.
Mm-hmm. We have 3 other refs, and they're all fighting. Aubrey is distracted. I'll let you jump in here, Robert.
So MJF has just rolled to the ground in one corner, and it just so happens to be the corner that Jericho's bat, Floyd.
What?
And so suddenly when MJF gets up again, the bat is no longer on the ground.
Curious. Magic. He's a magician.
I'm sure he doesn't realize it's in his hands till after he's hit Jericho in the face with it, and then as soon as he realizes it, he tosses it out of the ring. But, what are you going to do? He
doesn't want to win that way.
No, and he doesn't, because he hits Chris Jericho with the Judas effect.
The only way that could have been better, somebody on Twitter suggested, would be if he did the reverse Shawn Michaels with, "I hate you, I'm not sorry," and then hits him.
That would have been so great. We were talking about it that night. That was so awesome. I kind of wish that would have happened.
Sorry, not sorry. Bam.
Yeah, so he hits the Judas effect, and he gets the 1, 2, 3. He got his foot on the rope.
Jericho, while that happened, laid his, like the wily veteran he is, laid his boot on the rope. But,
well, the ref counted to 3 anyway.
And because she did not see the boot. However, those refs outside the ring turned out to be important because while they were breaking up the fight, they happened to look over and see Jericho.
The damn meddling kids that should have been busy breaking up a brawl.
Apparently it was broken up because he had time to see that, oh, hey.
Well, then it was he needs to go to the back and get ready for the next match. It's none of his damn business what's going on in this ring.
He's an official on the scene, and he has a responsibility.
He was not.
To let Aubrey. He didn't override it.
Aubrey was.
He just provides her the information.
He did not override it. Yeah, you're right. Robert's right. He informed her of what happened. She's inclined to believe him because he's a fellow referee. And
Those stripes don't lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Zebras flock together. And so Aubrey's like, well, since that happened, we have no choice but to restart the match.
And which is a bunch of horseshit.
No choice.
I love how they preserve the
Ding, ding, ding.
the rule of ref obliviousness by coming up with a reason for there to be another ref out there.
Yeah.
Because nobody backstage watches these things or would be.
That
monitoring
was
for that.
him also looking out for Aubrey's well-being, because how mad would everyone would have been for such an obvious miscarriage of justice to happen?
Well,
Aside from the miscarriage of justice you're about to talk about.
well, MJF obviously angry at having to restart this match, and well, he should be. So he tries to give Aubrey a little lip service. Well, this broad wants to give it back to him, so he gives her a little shove. And
Should have been an instant disqualification.
no, because the
Shove
match
up-
shouldn't have been restarted in the first
You
place.
shoved an official for his match. It's
No, the match
late
is over
hand.
as far as I'm concerned.
I will say, you talked about shaky camera work earlier. I do love here. It's tied in on MJF and Aubrey. There's a shove. She kind of shoves him like, you get away and do not do that. And he turns, and then Jericho just sprints into frame, already spinning into the Judas effect.
Yeah.
Which MJF barely dodges, but it's just this great moment of you see Jericho when he's 80% of the way through the move.
Yeah.
And like just in time for MJF to get clear.
Caught him and went to go for the pin, but MJF kicks out and goes for what was it that he was going for? Was it an Indian deadlock, or was it was some kind of a leg hold?
something, yeah.
And Jericho counters into the walls of Jericho,
you
or
know-
the Lion Tamer, whatever.
And you know why that worked, right? Because he didn't work the legs as much as the arms.
He worked the back like the
Yeah,
coward
Jericho.
that he is. God. Well, his blood-soaked victory worked. He forced MJF to tap out. It was either tap or lose his career. So
Wait, no, MJF
he
wasn't.
lived to fight another day.
MJF didn't have to lose his career.
No, he would have been. This son of a bitch, Jericho, would have broken his back. That's
Right.
what he was aiming for in the first place.
The wrestlers fight each other. That's the implication of every match.
Yeah, but they don't try to break each other in half. They
They
don't try to
kinda-
ruin each other's careers.
They kind of do.
There are 9 guys who have a spear finisher. I mean,
That's true.
Speaking of seeing things from another dimension, this happened several times throughout the night. I was just reminded of it. At least the cameras on the ring post that they switched to, they had like a different setting on them because
Yeah.
the
What
footage
was
from
that?
I don't know, the footage from them looked entirely different. I think it had to do with the aperture or something.
It almost looked like they were GoPro cameras. Hensley, can you comment on this?
We're talking about the
The corner cameras.
the
fish eyes.
Yeah.
So a camera to get that wide of a picture from such an odd angle, and with the wrestlers so close to it, it's got to be a very wide angle lens. I'm betting it was 8mm, so it was fish-eyed.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Now, again, if you got to nitpick this match, I don't even remember how many matches we're in now, but we have seen 13 trading spots.
Yeah.
wow.
At this point, we go to 17. I'm gonna spare you the rest of it. Is that we go to 17 before this night's over?
Well, now the suspense is ruined.
I know.
We're gonna have a final count and everything. There was gonna be a big tally board. It's over. But no, you know what I really loved about that end? It makes both of them look great in their own respective way.
Yeah.
Because of the setup, it's like MJF had Jericho beat. There's no contest about that.
Right.
Like MJF had him beat. He was just devious enough to get it done. But Jericho, he hadn't survived this long in this business to not be able to capitalize on good fortune and happenstance.
Yeah.
Just like the opportunity, because he was just ever the young opportunist MJF was back in his day.
Right.
So it's like he had that boot on the rope, secure in the fact that someone would notice it,
Right.
It would be his one chance to be able to get out of this and win.
Yeah, well, enjoy his hollow victory. So.
I do wonder how he feels after, because there was a lot of talk on wrestling Twitter that was sort of like, it might be time for Jericho. This is probably
it really is, because let's be honest. While I loved this match and I gave it a 4 rating, Jericho was very slow and very sluggish. He hit some great moves, and when he hit them solid.
Well, that's the thing. This match ends with Jericho winning by the skin of his teeth and not having to leave, but this really feels like the start of the end.
Yeah, and it's time. It's time. The one thing you never want to see is someone that's been there past is like The Undertaker.
Right.
We did not want to see those last 3 years. Nobody wanted to see that.
That poor man.
I know.
Vince Andre'd him so hard.
He really did. He really did.
When I was getting a Netflix movie, so there's a...
Heard that.
An interactive Netflix movie with him and the New Day.
Mm-hmm. What? Never mind.
We'll talk about that out.
I'll puzzle over that later.
I'm sure that'll be its own special episode.
It's going to be awesome.
I was puzzled enough when you said Undertaker, and then really, really confused when you ended with New Day.
So moving now, honestly, this should have been the main event. Last match, go home. No, we still got 3 more matches. Now, we've got CM Punk versus Darby Allin.
What was the score on that, out of curiosity?
That I gave that one a 4.
Nice.
Yeah, good stuff. Good. I really loved everything so far. CM Punk versus Darby Allin. Okay, here we go. Now, look, at this point, we're getting tired. This is my other critique about, I know we only have 4 a month, but damn it. Look, some of us have to go to work in the morning.
4 a year.
Yeah.
It was
said
easier
4 a month. I was a...
4 a year, whatever.
It was easier when they do. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Robert, go ahead.
Well, it was easier when they do the Saturday night shows, at least. But when it's Sunday night, it's like, you've got an obligation to get people home before midnight.
Yeah, I think so. And at least Vince understands that now, or maybe he does. I don't know.
I get it though, because it's like they're kind of running off the model that WWF perfected, which was they have a big 4. Mm-hmm. Those are their only pay-per-views, so they work very hard towards those and have a big show because it's got to be the payoff to what they've been building so far.
Right.
I get it. I understand why. You're right. I was very tired at the end, but it's like it's a little more forgivable, for at least sort of to me, than we do one of these once a month, and sometimes we're going to overrun. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Or you don't have to start at 8.
You don't.
You can start this thing at 7. Vince starts at 7.
Yeah.
And he's doing great with his pay-per-views.
He really is.
At least as far as time goes.
Except for SummerSlam.
I'm not going to talk about it.
We already
So, CM Punk versus Darby Allin.
Who is lucky to be there, having just survived jumping out of a helicopter on his way to the ring.
He jumped out of a helicopter.
Yeah, those vignettes with Darby, man. Is this...
I joked about it right before it happened.
Yeah.
I was like, it just because the whole vignette is he's using a helicopter to lift up a body bag that has "Best in the World" written on it. Mm-hmm. That's filled with something, not a body, definitely not a body.
Well, not Punk's body at any rate.
Clearly.
So yeah, and he's riding on the outside on the leg, the tail, the rail, and then you just see Darby Allin. It's got a shot where the helicopter's just out of shot, the body bag's dangling. You just see Darby Allin.
Yeah.
And there's no you don't see him hitting a pad or landing in water. He just drops out of frame.
No, he died.
Yeah.
And then he just walks into the entrance. So there you go.
Sting caught him.
This match again. This was probably, as far as pacing goes, slowest pace of the night. Again, I get why.
Yeah.
He has not been in the ring in 7 years. I would have paced it that way too.
It also could have been like a jump rope contest, and the crowd would have been like chanting, "This is awesome! This is awesome!"
Yeah. In fact, they even started booing Darby Allin a little bit.
They did, because he's not from there.
Yeah. Because that's how we do it in America.
Chicago is just lower Canada in that regard.
So yeah, some great stuff. You guys want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Take it away.
I mean, I think that's what we're here for.
There's the Darby. He starts off just like kind of leaning back into the corner, that kind of like lounging position he takes during someone else's entrance.
Oh yeah.
And Punk sits cross-legged in the ring, facing him. And again, the crowd starts chanting.
Got a holy shit chant
for a man sitting
How about
cross-legged in the ring.
That's how you know you're over, man.
that? Yeah, I'm really. If they'd have got up and left at that point, they did their job.
Yeah.
I think one of my
They
favorite.
just both stand up, wave goodnight, and just.
There it is. Curtain, confetti, boom.
I think one of my favorite little touches is as they're they both get up and they start circling. Punk looks at the ref and gives him like a nod, like, all right, I'm ready. And that's when they ring to start the match.
Yeah.
It's just a little like, okay. Mm-hmm. And they go back in.
I will say this too. Probably one of Darby Allin's best matches here in AEW. I have never seen him wrestle more technique
I can agree to that.
than I have Saturday night. It was great.
I didn't notice this till it was pointed out on Twitter, but they took a very specific spot from the Bret Hart 1-2-3 Kid match.
I noticed that night.
Yeah, it's a really good spot. Now that I had a chance to see it, it's the moment when Bret Hart and 1-2-3 Kid lock up, and 1-2-3 Kid gets the better of him, tosses him over. And Brad sits there for a second and he just kind of gets this little look on his face. All right, yeah.
But see, it goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
Because anytime you have a monster heel, which is not what we had here, but
Right.
You have a monster heel versus a just baby face wrestler, just salt of the earth baby face, and the baby face takes him over with an arm drag, usually right off the bat, and usually gets the ooh, which just starts. It makes the heel mad.
No, it's the Mongo moment. You don't want to do that. It just makes him mad.
It's happened more than a few times. I understand why people went with the Bret Hart Michaels thing.
Well, no, it was Bret Hart 1-2-3 Kid.
I'm sorry, 1-2-3 Kid. Yeah.
But
I understand why they
it was
went
just that
with
moment of, all right, he's okay. He's got more than I gave him credit for.
Right. But yeah, that spot itself has been used several times.
I guess
I've used it myself.
I think it was just the most obvious parallel. It was just that moment of just recognition of, okay, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, but regardless, it was good. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was it. I just wanted to jump in with that.
All right, Robert, you got anything?
There's also just the fact that Darby Allin is like a ping pong ball in the ring. Like at one point, Punk throws him into the corner. He goes between the second and third turnbuckle. His shoulder bounces off the ring post, and he flies to the outside.
Yes.
And just splats on the ground.
And again, this is perfect because this is what a wrestler would do in this moment. Punk goes out after him, throws his bitch ass back into the ring, and then tries to pin him.
Yep.
Problem is, just took a hair too long. But that's what you do when you go to the outside like that. You went outside by accident. He didn't mean to throw him out there. It's just what happened. So, but he's hurt. He's down for the count. I'm getting a pin here.
Well, even better is like Darby is, while he is a smaller guy, Punk isn't huge. So for Punk to be able to manhandle him like that is a incredible moment.
No, it absolutely is. There was a lot of that, and I do love how Punk allowed Darby to control the speed of the match at some point. Now, He didn't control Punk as far as the speed goes, but he set his own pace and he let Darby fly around the ring with purpose.
Yeah.
And Punk just sat back and watched him. He turned the switch on when he needed to. Mm-hmm. The one beautiful moment was he was going to give the coffin drop.
Yes.
Climbs up. And as he jumps off, Punk just casually, not even Undertaker-esque, just casually sits up.
And just smile.
And just like,
oh my gosh, I can't believe that worked.
yeah.
I saw that shit coming from the moon.
It was, honestly, it felt very Orange Cassidy is what it felt like.
Sort of, but I mean, Orange Cassidy wouldn't emote like that when he does it. No, this is Punk going, I scouted that.
Yeah.
Also, an enormous amount of trust for that Darby Allin is going to
so
land
much.
exactly at that point in your upper torso. Because if he's like a little lower than he should be, he comes down straight on the top of your head.
Right. And,
It's haha, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Well, there's also the Punk has gone on record to say before he even got there, he's like, I really like Darby Allin. I've been watching this kid for a while now, and in my opinion, nobody should ever do a dive ever again. That was one thing that I used to do. If I saw somebody doing the same move that I did, but they did it better than me, I didn't do that move anymore. I'll never do a dive again. And I don't think anybody else should either. So now we are running a little bit low on time here, so we're gonna push this along here. The go home on this one. He had already hit one GTS, CM Punk.
And Darby just happened to fall through the ropes when he did it, so he couldn't pin.
Yep.
Right, and he waited. This is another nitpick thing that I've got that also happened in the previous match. He laid out there, out in the ring. Punk, he's like being a good guy. He's like, he's going to let him get up. They get all the way to 9. And then hops up in the ring.
It happened during Baker, during Jericho, and during this match.
Yeah.
They went to that
I don't
lot.
like that. Now, if you want to beat the count by a little bit, there's other ways to do it than that. You can stir. You can get up to one knee. You can start walking the other direction. I've seen people do it, and you can make it believable. There's all kinds of things you can do besides bouncing up on 9. It takes credibility away from the match.
Yeah, because not that it's not unbelievable. It's just like after like the third person to do it. It's like, yeah, because as I understand, because like there's the people who are like they're just gonna power through it and get up. There's people who are just trying to rest as long as possible and then like use a huge shove of energy to get themselves up. It's like it's possible, but it's like you're right.
It's that 3 people did the exact same 9 seconds of immobility, then get up and dash for the ring.
I mean, Statlander's had more purpose to it because it was Orange Cassidy yelling at her.
True.
Of the 3, that's the one I would have kept.
That
the
was
other
almost
2 could have.
she was she was just basically being buffed by Orange Cassidy.
And again, this wouldn't happen if they had agents on their matches. But that's another story. So the go home with this, Punk hits a second GTS on Darby Allin, catches him in the 3 count. 1, 2, 3. We now have we do a handshake. Sting comes out there. We shake Sting's hand, and everybody walks away from this looking great.
Yes.
Nobody got buried. Somebody said that I don't think it's right for Darby to get buried in this. I was like, no. Look,
He didn't get buried.
nobody got buried. First of all, Darby lost, but he came out smelling like a rose. I'm telling you, I speak the truth when I say this is the best match that I have seen Darby Allin in. He wrestled more technically sound than I've ever seen him. I didn't know, as far as I knew, he might have been a backyarder. Yeah. I had no idea. But yeah, he showed me he was trained properly.
People, it's a problem with modern wrestling fans today that a lot of people seem to think losing equals burial. Like
No.
burial is if Darby Allin like took a swing or a kick and Punk ducks it and then GTS's him and he's out and he's done.
If hypothetically, just say CM Punk had walked down to the ring and they'd had a moment and the crowd was going crazy and he'd like, I don't know, clotheslined him and pinned him immediately and it was like he lost in 28 seconds. I don't know where that number came from.
It's weird.
But, that would have been... And then you could have said someone's been buried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like maybe if thinking about somebody that would be buried, like say two people are having a match, and then a grizzled 70-year-old man comes out and spears one of the combatants and gets a 3 count.
Yeah.
God forbid where that would ever happen. But and then they become the WWE champion, until Drew McIntyre beat him at WrestleMania. But I don't know where that would happen. Anyway, that would be an example of a burial.
Yeah.
That'd be hard to recover from, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like Eddie Kingston. You can lose and look good.
Yeah. And honestly, all of our losers, the Saturday night came out on the other end better than they were before.
Maybe not the next one.
Except for the last two, and we're going to talk about that now. I go for CM Punk versus Darby Allin.
Okay.
And let's go into Paul White versus QT Marshall. Why is this match? I get why it's there.
Yeah, we talked about it there. It's
we had to have a break. I get it.
It was the breather because it was the breather because of the last two matches.
And
I would have put that after the cage match.
I would have put this on Rampage.
Also, it gave a lot
maybe even Elevation.
Dark Elevation. It gave a lot of people a chance to get out and find their cars because a good portion of that crowd was like, "Yeah, Punk won. Good night."
Yeah, pretty much.
Suckers.
I don't have any notes on this match. This was the worst thing that I saw.
Which in and of itself, it's not a bad match, but placement where it was placed on the card makes you think less of it.
I don't have a problem with Paul White. I respect him. I don't like QT Marshall, or whatever we're calling him. I don't care about him. He looks like a glorified jobber. He looks like a chipmunk and a human made love and had a love child. I don't have anything good to say about him.
That's
I think
weird.
his wrestling
that is weird. What goes on in that head of yours?
Well, yes, I just call it like I see him, man. But I act like you've never seen a human make love to it. It doesn't matter. No, he's not that good of a worker. He's damn lucky to be in AEW. He should be doing jobs on the indies. I'm not going to be kind about it. He's been getting too much pub for my liking. I don't like his nightmare. What is
the factory?
The factory. Yeah. There you go. I don't like the factory stable thing. That's it. What do you guys think?
There's really not much else you can say about that.
It was pretty short.
Yeah.
I gave this match my lowest rating of the night, which was 2.5. Nothing against Paul. It's just, what are we doing here? And
we're taking a breath before the main event.
Right.
Go pee now. It's your last chance.
So, main event, AEW World Heavyweight Title. I'm exhausted at this point. Both of you guys are. Hensley's already left. I believe a couple other people have already left at this point.
I think it was just us three.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this now. Main event should have been Jericho and MJF. That was your main. I'm a fan. I think it's important to have the world title as the last match. In this case, if we're gonna And I'm just going to come out and say it. If it was anybody else but Christian Cage, then I would say, yeah, it needs to be main event. But it's Christian. And while I understand, Christian's a great worker. He is. He's very talented. But let's be honest, in the Attitude Era, as far as, those cage matches and tag teams go, there were 4 Beatles. There was Edge, there was Jeff Hardy, there was Matt Hardy, and then there was Ringo Starr himself, and that was Christian. I'm gonna get heat for that, I understand, but I'm calling it like I see it.
I would say of those 4 guys, with the exception of Edge's SummerSlam match against Seth Rollins, which I thought was fantastic, Christian's work has been the one that's impressed me the most in the ring.
Really? I would think so.
Yeah.
I still like Matt Hardy.
I can agree with that.
Jeff, I assume still wrestles. I think he's employed, but
he's currently chasing the 24/7.
Oh, you saw that, did you?
No, I heard about it.
well, why wouldn't he? He just beat the NXT champion. But no, I think Christian has really shown himself to. I think he's the kind of veteran that you want in there, especially in your world title scene.
And I think in your analysis, he wasn't really ever given a chance like the others to shine better.
Well, that's not necessarily true. He was the ECW World Heavyweight Champion. It's true.
See, I know it happened at Doggz.
They gave him a spot.
It was dumb. All right, let's move on.
Whatever he's been in the past, I think tonight on the night of the show, he did a really great job. I think he and Kenny.
I think you're right. The big sell of the show was Punk versus Allen. Mm-hmm. The emotional heart of the show was MJF versus Jericho.
Right.
The surprise hit, at least for me, the biggest surprise hit was the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks. Yeah. This was a good match. It was a good match, but not the closer. You're right.
Not the closer.
It's kind of like the first Jericho or the first AEW title match where it was Jericho versus Hangman. It was a good match, but it came after the ladder match between the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks.
Right.
It's just like, a good match feels disappointing after that.
And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying Christian's a bad worker. No, he's a phenomenal worker. He's very vanilla. He always has been. He's good on the mic. He's technically sound. He can put over a match. He can build a match. He's got great psychology. And I don't have a real reason. It's just he doesn't have that it factor that I would put in a main event.
I think right now it's because he's a face. He always plays a little better as a heel.
It's also, let's remember, this was all thrown together like in the last 2 months after the guy who was being held for this spot, Hangman Page, decided, I don't know, he wanted to be there for his wife in the last months of her pregnancy and I guess meet his child and be there.
The fuck's paternity leave?
Right?
This is wrestling.
Like you're supposed to just
you don't even know who your
cowboy.
kids are.
Yeah, they should just see a stranger come home every couple months.
Yeah.
Or do what Penta does. Just get them in there and give them, blood infection.
Well, just bleed on them and there you go. We'll see you.
It makes sense. Family's blood. Come here.
But no, for all that they kind of had to take this in a different direction than they'd been building to, I think they worked the story pretty well with Christian getting the Impact title and being the only guy who's beaten Kenny since he became the AEW champ.
Yeah, and that was not happening this time.
Nope.
Not a chance.
It was a good back and forth match. I don't have any real notes on this. Is that the match went back and forth. It was decent. It was good. It kept the crowd as into it as they possibly could be at this point.
Yeah. They were still in the afterglow.
Yeah. Again, we're trading chops and we're trading punches.
Right.
Robert, you got what do you got on notes on this?
I will say there were 2 uses of a table or different tables on the outside of the ring. One, Christian's lying prone outside the ring. Kenny gets a table out from under the ring and just drapes it across Christian. He doesn't set it up. He doesn't put Christian on top of the table. He just puts a table over him, gets on the apron, and does a running stomp onto him.
I'm gonna just squash it.
Yeah, that's one of my notes. This is a world title match. There was why is this no DQ? Why didn't the referee count him out or disqualify Kenny Omega for that?
Excuse you don't talk to Kenny Omega that way.
I thought the tables were like
Just saying.
It's like
No,
throwing
it's just
somebody
Kenny's
into
hubris, I
the.
assume.
It's like throwing somebody into the ring steps. It's like something just happens to be there. It's different from picking up a chair in your hands and hitting somebody with it.
I'm gonna start swinging my arms like this, and if you get in the way, that's your own fault.
And when Christian speared Kenny through the table and nearly impaled himself on the table leg.
The announcers even said something about it. They was like, well, the referee is giving some leeway this because we want to see a winner here.
Yeah, I think that's basically the instruction they had for it tonight. So
Yeah, so that's it is what it is. So it's
regardless, Kenny went over.
Good finish.
he
Kenny
did
got
with the super one-winged angel from the top rope. It's a dangerous move, man. I mean, it's dangerous enough as on the ground when you're stable, much less on the top rope. Good God. Omega gets the win, and then the rest of the elite limp down to the ring.
My favorite touch.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The Young Bucks, Nick Jackson, Balding Buck, had like bleached his beard. Like there was like blonde patches in it, and that had like washed or rubbed out by the time he came down, so it looked like literally like the color had gone out of his face after that match.
Right.
Oh man,
And one of them's had a ice pack taped to their back, but they're still wearing their romper. So it's but that ice pack is very present.
Man. Priorities. But yeah, they come out and they decide to help celebrate by just starting to beat down on Christian.
Yeah.
Which prompts the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt, I guess, to come out and help.
Yeah. And they all get caught.
Yes.
And it's very Horseman-esque. They're getting beat down, and then the lights go out.
Well, Kenny cuts a quick promo.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Go ahead.
He says, I proved it, day after day, month after month. The only people who could beat me aren't here right now. They're retired or they're already dead. And then lights. Now, we think we're about to see Daniel Bryan. There are a yes chants in the crowd.
Yes. And the lights go out, and you can hear the yes, yes, yes. But that's not what we got. Chris, tell them what we got.
We got Adam Cole, baby.
Yes, we did. Oh, my God. And did that place light up?
Yeah, it did.
Woo. Oh.
Adam comes out. He gets in the ring. He's going to set things straight. Except then he super kicks Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
I love that they're so committed to the heel face tunnels that he comes out of the heel one just because I didn't notice it either.
It was such a big. The fact that he was coming out was such a big thing. I didn't think about it until after he came out of the heel tunnel.
It's like, wait a minute. They told us straight up and we missed it.
And he grabs the mic and he says, "It's story time." And he talks about how about these guys are his friends and he's elite and he's joining the elite. And they're gonna gleefully just keep beating them down.
And then he gets at Kenny. I don't like Kenny Omega's promos, but he gets the mic. And he says, "Well, did I do that?" And oh God,
he did that during the match too. By the way,
he did.
A Family Matters
that's
quote.
His
You can't cut any deeper.
Yeah,
I guess he's helping promote the Urkel strain of weed.
I guess. It says, "There's nothing left to say but adieu." Blah blah blah, and then the lights go out again, and then we hear "Flight of the Valkyrie" starts playing with
Ride of the Valkyries.
Huh?
Ride of the Valkyries.
Sorry.
Or I might be. I don't know.
I think
I've always heard it was "Flight of the Valkyries."
No, it's Flight of the Conchords. It's Ride of the Valkyries.
Okay.
That's how I remember.
Okay, I stand corrected.
While we were arguing about that, a man came out onto the ramp and
his name was Bryan Danielson.
remember that.
The American Dragon. How about that?
And the crowd may have been screaming. I was too busy jumping off of the couch screaming myself.
Oh boy, did this guy mark out over here. I mean, he pulls out a Yes T-shirt that I'm not sure where it came from. And
I've had it for every AEW pay-per-view since the company was founded. I just
he wasn't wearing it, so I don't know.
Robert is so cool, calm, and collective, and I've only seen him lose his shit twice since I've known the man, and each time it is a blessing to me. I am so overjoyed and thrilled that he's actually human. It's and that is why I wanted it to come on the podcast.
Well, I've been absorbing data all week and just modifying
I just
my
assumed
subroutines.
he was a superior alien.
But yeah, no, I was so happy to see him come out. I was like, oh, Adam Cole. Okay, Adam Cole, that's awesome. People have talked about that. That's great. We can go forward. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, they're still talking. Oh my god!
And boom. And Daniel Bryan, that's going to take a minute.
Daniel Bryan Danielson.
I'm just going to call him Bryan.
Ryan.
And Bryan comes and starts putting the boots and doing the yes kicks to the heels.
Yep. He helps Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy and Christian get back up and chase everyone out.
Yeah. And thus ends AEW's All Out.
And I want to say the four of them standing in that ring to me looks like AEW's mission statement. It's you have the established people like Christian and the established and huge stars like Bryan Danielson.
It's going to take a minute.
And they're standing there with the people that they are working to help make into the next generation of big stars like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Right.
And those four standing abreast is like, that's what AEW is shooting for.
Yeah. It's, they are now truly all elite. I mean, it's really, there's nothing else to say now.
It's really... I mean, because you've had people get released by WWE and then find their way over to AEW. Mm-hmm. And you had a guy like Moxley who'd been kind of visibly dissatisfied with the company, leaving and deciding to go. What you had here were two guys who WWE wanted. Mm-hmm. You know, they gave... Daniel Bryan main evented WrestleMania this year. Adam Cole got, apparently a very, very generous offer. Reportedly, they even told Bryan... if you stay, we're willing to work with you and allow you to wrestle in other areas, which is a huge give from WWE management.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't do the forbidden door.
With no bad blood, neither man has said anything but positive things about their time with the company. They just said, we'd rather be here.
Yeah.
And that's...
we're going to take less money and go here. Which I don't know how much less. It couldn't have been too much less, but... I'm sure they got better deal somehow. They were compensated in some fashion for it.
Oh, sure.
Because they're just too over to take anything less. Overall, I had to give this whole pay-per-view 4.5.
Yeah.
Like we're about as close to 5 as we can get. The only thing I really have to nitpick is that time, man.
Yeah.
That's it. Started at 7. Let's get this thing over at 10:30, and we all go home happy. And
we're getting old, and our endurance isn't what it used to be.
Right, and let's be honest, AEW is for our demographic.
Yeah.
While WWE, its new brand is towards the 10 to 18-year-old.
Sure.
And that's really, if you start looking at the crowd now and you start paying attention to, we have Nikki Ash, the superhero. We have Alexa Bliss with the Lily doll.
Karrion Kross, the gladiator.
The gladiator. I mean, this is very...
You mean Cardos?
Yeah. It's very kid-friendly.
Yeah.
And... it's Karrion Kross is now brightly colored, even though it's a little bit dark, but it's still brightly colored. That's where we're going.
He's a master of the universe.
Yeah, and now I will say this: I think AEW can 100% beat SmackDown now.
Yeah,
I think if it comes down to it, and I think eventually Rampage will go to 2 hours.
I think that's what gave them the courage to go ahead with Rampage, knowing that this was in the works.
And as it might take them a year, but they will run SmackDown off of Fridays.
Oh yeah, no, I mean people can say what they want, but it will take time to build it properly and get it there. I mean, WCW didn't come out of the gate whooping WWF, but they did eventually, and then they held it.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. It doesn't matter what happens as far as the AEW roster or the WWE's roster. If AEW ever decides to go on to Monday nights, they're going to lose. That's just what's going to happen.
They can't aim for that.
They've been good about picking their battles so far. I feel like you'd have to have a couple more pretty big landscape shifts before they try that one.
Oh yeah. And I personally, I would never try it. So yeah, we got 4.5 for this entire pay-per-view. Let me ask you, Fashion Plate, what do you have for best dress this evening?
Oh, it's gonna be tough.
I know I got mine.
I want to hear yours. What?
It's MJF.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I won't say it was like the best thing of the evening, but I did like Punk's new attire. I thought that was,
with the long tights. Yeah, he looks great.
I think he looks good in the long tights.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm gonna say it's a tie between Nyla and Penta.
Oh yeah, he looks strong.
Penta always comes out strong, and Nyla, I liked her little Mystique get up that her wife made for her.
Yeah, there you go. Right on. David Hensley, what do you have?
Very little. I only watched half of this pay-per-view and did not finish it, so I don't have a best or worst.
That's okay, because I can bring it over to Robert Brafford. This is the reason we bring guests on.
Yeah, pick up that slack, Robert.
All right, I would say best performer. I also have to give to MJF because every molecule of that man's body tells the story when he's in the ring. Worst performer, the crowd. I'm sorry. We've been hearing Judas get sung for a year and a half now.
You guys have smartphones. You guys have smartphones. You can
chorus,
Google the lyrics.
The
real
chorus
quick.
is just I've become. It's a phrase repeated over and over again.
Like I hardly.
I
listen
have
to
been
that.
waiting for Robert Brafford to go heel for years, and it just happened.
But he's right, especially because I hardly ever hear the song except on pay-per-views when people are singing it, and it's like. I'm becoming Judas in my mind. There.
Yeah.
That's the chorus.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of hearing, of being part of Jericho's entrance at Fight for the Fallen, along with everybody else at the Bojangles Coliseum and Chris Barnes.
Yeah.
And it was late in the evening. We were all hoarse. It had been tired. But by God, we sang.
Yeah. And
Do better, Chicago.
There you go.
Deep Dish sucks.
Tell them, this is the worst town you've ever wrestled in. It's
Long Walk Productions is not responsible for the thoughts and opinions expressed on this podcast.
Who's their hockey team? The Blackhawks? They suck too.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So, let me ask you one more question, Robert. If you had to pick an MVP of the night, who would you pick?
MVP of the night.
It takes a minute because there's a lot of heavy hitters. I mean, usually in a WWE pay-per-view, you can, you can usually pinpoint it down to one within a couple of seconds. But there were so many heavy ones. This was a hard question. I know.
I'm gonna just have to give it to CM Punk. Because I had never seen a full CM Punk match until Sunday night. His heyday in WWE was when I'd stopped watching wrestling regularly. So, I'd seen a clip of the Pipe Bomb promo. I knew about him. I'd heard it was this reputation. But this is my first time actually seeing him go bell to bell in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
And I feel, again, he's working some rust off, but I feel like I'm glimpsing what connected so many people to him and made him, this fantasy object of like one day Punk will return, one day Punk. And again, it's been such a rarely uniformly positive thing over the last few weeks to just see everybody celebrating him coming back after that Rampage. Like almost nobody is unhappy that he's back doing this. And
Right.
for there to be a thing that happens on Twitter that nobody is unhappy about is...
So, I mean...
It's a double rainbow inside of a 4-leaf clover growing out of 3-way conjoined twins. It just doesn't happen.
I feel bad for the twins. But, all right,
There are
David
3 of them and
Hensley.
they're twins.
David Hensley, what do you think about it?
All right. Well, next week on Long Walk Talks, we're going to be continuing our Christopher Nolan filmography discussion with the Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah. And that's it for our schedule going forward, unless Robert and I can find a night to have our great debate about the Prestige.
Do it. Can I moderate?
We might do a bonus episode.
I
of
want to
Long
be
Walk
on that
Talks.
too because I love the Prestige.
I was texting some opinions as I was listening to that episode.
Oh,
in the
sweet.
morning.
It's a tag match now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how busy you are at work. I've got some thoughts about magician's safety in the late 1800s.
You know, yeah, at one point, like, we'd been going back and forth, and then things really got busy, and an hour later, I picked up my phone, and I think I had 5 messages from you, and I was like, oh, fuck.
I don't text paragraphs. I text, like, bite-sized chunks, so, yeah, that will happen.
Dogs, if people want to follow you or reach out to you online, where can they do that at?
You can get me at on Instagram at David2DogsHayes. You can find me on Twitter. Not that I'm ever on there, but you can find me at David2DogsHayes on Twitter. And if you want to get me on Facebook, you won't be able to because I won't. I'm going to think you're spam and I'll ignore you.
Robert, what about you?
I'm on Twitter at RedbeardRob1. That's at RedbeardRob, the number 1. On Instagram, but I honestly don't remember what my name is. I'm not on there that much.
Chris, what about you? Where can people follow you online?
I am on Twitter at David2DogsHayes.
How dare you?
All right.
Or you can alternate. You can try Chris the OK. I don't know how much better that'll be.
All right. And if you want to follow me online, the best place to do that at is going to be on Instagram at DBHensley. If you would like to keep up with Long Walk Productions, you can visit us online at longwalk.us, or you can search for Long Walk Productions and Long Walk Podcasts on Facebook. To see more of our original content or hear past episodes that are no longer streaming, you can follow the YouTube links in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening, and if you enjoy this show or any of the shows on the Long Walk Podcast Network, please make sure to leave us a rating and a review on whatever platform you're listening on.
Thank you very much for listening to us, guys, and for David Hensley, Chris the Fashion Plate Barnes, and Robert Brafford. This is David2DogsHayes saying, guys, if you got out of bed today and you had a job to go to and you got somebody that cares about you when you get back home, folks, this match is over and you just won via pinfall. Thank you very much for listening to This Is a Work.
I enjoyed talking about wrestling. What is this feeling?
Redeem D's nuts.